context.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You're picking it up. You got it.
He's gonna be very offensive. Everybody.
That's not offensive.
Slightly.
Welcome back to the Blamegirl podcast with
Mr. Cherry Wayne.
And we are having
Brax.
And Brax. Sorry, Brax. My screen's doing it again. I guess I should take off the extended display. Fuck. Sorry, everybody. This is Brax. Like we told you, we're not usually this disorganized. I'm just taking it off. For now, I work with it and I prefer it, but Terry put some type of juju on it. And
I did. I brought my evil, and my evil.
See, what Terry doesn't do is he doesn't have the show notes up also, and that's
well,
why
I didn't bring them up because of that.
That's why I always have the dual screen. But anyway, everybody, welcome back to the Blamegirl podcast with Terry Wayne. Brax, welcome. Sorry for this disorganized intro.
Oh, good.
How was your weekend?
It was good. I had a good balance, did some comedy, and saw my nieces that I adore, and I did some work. So it's good.
I think I saw the pictures of your cute nieces.
Yeah.
Where did you have a show, or did you do some open mics?
Yeah, I did an open mic in Miami, in North Miami on Friday night at this pizza place called Mama Jenny's. And then Saturday night, I had a show at the Twisted Roots Kava Bar in Hollywood Circle.
And it was a lot of
Yeah, it's good crowds. Friday night was more low key, but sometimes I like it when it's a small crowd because then I just take their microphone straight to them and, kind of just like, it feels more like personalized.
More intimate, right?
Yeah.
Terry, how was your weekend?
Oh, I had a gangbusters weekend. I went up to Atlanta to do a show.
Okay, you told us about that last week.
Yeah,
how was that?
It was great.
Yeah.
It was
with your other podcast.
It was with my other podcast. My other podcast, it was the 1 year anniversary, and they wanted to do a big thing. And the two girls that do it with me and Rudy of all trades, they both live in Atlanta. He had a show, so we just put something together and made it a whole weekend. But it was awesome, and I love going to Atlanta because it's always black crowds and they never know what to expect. So I just went out there and I was like, a lot of white comics would be nervous in this crowd. Y'all don't scare me. And as soon as I said that, I had them on my
Terry,
side.
we've talked about this before.
Just saying.
Black crowds like white men just as much as everybody else in America.
I know, but I always get them in the palm of my hand because I'm like, you don't scare me. And as soon as I say that, they're like, this is a good one. This is one of the good ones. Yeah.
I gotta say, there are some white people that probably, but I mean, they like pretty much all the white guys I know, like Dan Weiss even, like goes out there with his Jewish jokes and they still love him.
Well, I'm sorry, but what I've always found is like, you got to have that Apollo mentality. You know what I mean? Like, no, you really do. Like, weakness is not good for you in a situation.
Brax,
like
do you know what he means by that Apollo mentality?
Do you mean like super like confident? Because I feel like the opposite of that in a way.
Well, it's
as a white person in a black space.
Well, no, it's not. Look, fake it till you make it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like super confident, but you can't show your fear.
But I feel like you got to be conscious of the space you take up, and sometimes when you're confident, that kind of goes out the window.
That's not a bad point made at all. But I'm just saying that the path that I walked have served me well thus far.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think doing comedy is different. Also, it's not. I'm talking about if you're just like in a room with people talking.
Yeah.
I feel like I think in a black space, if you're a white dude and you're just like raising your hand the whole time, like people are gonna be like, "What the fuck," you know?
Well, you know what it is that I'm trying to say. It's like when you're doing stand up, any fear is gonna, like, if the audience picks up on any fear, regardless.
No, I agree with that. Yeah.
But there's an extra note of that when you're the minority in the room. You know what I mean? Then there's that extra note of like, let's see. You know what I mean? Because
I definitely know that it's not a good look to show them that you're nervous, because then you're just
exactly
that I definitely know exactly what you're.
I always just lean in to it, and as soon as I lean into it, everything's cool, and we can go on with regular material.
So.
And sorry, and we also did the 1 year anniversary of my other podcast, The Worst Ones. on Spotify and YouTube. Worst Ones podcast. All a bunch of,
Congrats.
yeah, thank you. A bunch of preachers' kids getting around talking about what it's like to grow up in a church and stifling atmospheres and philosophy and everything.
Well, it's good to hear you had a good weekend. Sometimes you're like, bah, about your weekend.
Yeah, normally I don't do anything because I'm 40 and it's boring.
We went on about his weekend, so
Yeah.
What about you, Gio?
thank you, Brax. Oh my
I
God.
was giving her the opportunity.
Yeah, sure he was. He never asked me how my weekend was. Me and Jeff Dolezal planned that last weekend. Brax just is a nice person. She asked me, I mean,
Yeah.
they asked me how my
Right.
fucking weekend was.
All right,
So,
right.
my weekend was good. Thank you for asking.
Any comedy?
No, I didn't do any comedy.
Got some rest?
I took Friday off. Yes, I rested, and then Saturday I did mushrooms.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I did.
Where'd you, what was the layout for that?
It was just me and some of my friends, and
Nice.
one of them had them, and we just chilled at home, did those, and it was super chill. You know, you just chill. So
I
Nice.
feel that, yeah.
Sunday, a lot of chores. I'm low on cash. Halloween,
Yo, same here.
hurt me up, so
Yeah.
chilling. All right, let's get to it, y'all. Another NBA team owner is being investigated for racial and sexual hostility. Who's to blame? And this is Robert Sarver, guys. He is the one of the owners of the Phoenix Suns. And it's been said that he was using the N-word a lot. Like, as many people are accusing this dude of using the N-word as Bill Cosby. And why is this happening with another NBA team owner?
I'll go first.
You want me to go? Or you want to go?
No, that's fine. Sometimes some people can't wait to go, and then the other times, whatever. Look, he's an old white man. Like, of course he's gonna do some out of pocket shit. You know what I mean? Like, just the same way every old black person I've ever known has this little part in them where it's like, fuck that white boy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's necessarily a sign of racial unrest as it is as a time that you grew up. It's the same thing as an old man saying like that. You call that music? You know what I mean? Like, they're still clinging on
I
to
think
the past
also,
that they lived in.
Brax, I'm sorry if you had something, but I gotta jump in here. I think also the old white men have a plantation owner mentality.
Mm-hmm.
So they think that, like, especially if you're an NBA team owner, you have all this money, you own all these niggas, and like you can say nigga too, like it's no problem. So that's what I think. Brax, what do you think here?
Yeah, so I think it's not surprising, unfortunately, due to, the culture we live in. As far as who's to blame, yeah, I mean, I think it's the system. I think older white men, haven't had to do a lot of accountability. And I don't know much about this guy, but if he owns a team, he probably has a lot of money. And I think when you have a lot of money and you're older and white, you get away with things. No one keeps you in check. And so you see in the article, like, there's people kind of like defending him, saying, yeah, he didn't do that. There's going to be an investigation. I think what I would like to see is just, for someone just to be accountable and be like, listen, clearly there was harm, even if I didn't mean to have that impact, I did. But like, that's not the conversations that we have. And I think usually the conversation is a lot of like defense. But yeah, I'm not surprised, honestly. But I think yeah, go ahead.
I'll be honest. This argument reminds me. I mean, this article, when I read it, it reminds me of, you remember the last one?
Yeah, Robert
something. Yeah, who came out. But his girlfriend, his young model girlfriend, it doesn't matter. The point is, no, it doesn't matter. What does matter, at least to the point I'm trying to make, is it was a private conversation that he didn't know was being recorded. So there is, and I don't care what you're saying. I don't care. You could be saying like, oh, the Holocaust isn't real or whatever. As human beings, regardless of how shitty we may be, especially some of us, there is a question of privacy and what that matters. Because we'd like to think that it doesn't matter for the bad people, but that's a slippery slope because who defines who's bad might change from day to day. You know what I mean?
And that's the problem here. It has changed from day to day. And now old white men, as much as like, you know, we're in a situation where people still hold white men in esteem, they are being held accountable more often. You can't just do anything, white men. You can't just fucking drop the N-word. I don't like when white people use it. And I have friends that will use it in conversation just to, you know, not even prove a point, but I don't know what they think that
that's a term that's reserved for just Black folks. I mean, I don't know why people don't get that.
And if it's a, that's fine. But if I'm saying like they'll use the hard R, and I'm just like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? But,
well, I think anybody of a certain age is gonna say some off-color shit sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've known plenty of old Black guys that would say some really like crazy stuff.
Of course, old Black
from
people
time
say,
to time,
like,
and I don't even blame them. I don't.
I know. I mean, I think the trauma there is like, how do you? I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think if I was like,
trauma has Robert Sarver encountered this. This is the biggest trauma he's ever encountered, and it's not limited to just racial shit. It's also
the sexual stuff.
Like,
I mean, there's so much. I'm sure there's like everyone can be problematic, and I think when you have a certain like position in society, like you're gonna be in especially white folks, like you could be more problematic. But it would just be cool if we yeah. I mean, I'm problematic. We're all problematic in one way or another, but I think it would just be cool if people could just admit it when they fuck up and like use it as a learning moment. And instead, people have lawyers, you know, they'll like push it under the rug. And
you saw that. Wait, Brax, you saw that his lawyers were like very like, I was like, this is some bullshit. He said it. Like, you got
who
lawyers.
cares? It's not against the law.
Well,
it makes you a shitty person.
We all care.
It's not a crime.
You know who cares? The fucking team cares.
But why can't he just be like, yo, I fucked up?
That's fine.
Like, what's so hard about saying that you fucked up?
I know, but my thing is, Brax, you know, I don't know if you watched any of these shows. I don't know before I hit you up, but I'm very left brain, very logical, right? So I tend to look at things in just pieces of equations. So to me, when I say like you have to be careful about infringing upon the First Amendment, because once you do that, it gets turned around on you. It's like we talked about before with the Texas abortion law, where they can't enforce it themselves because it's unconstitutional. So they vigilante, they empower people to be vigilantes.
Yeah, that's insane.
And enforce it for them. But look what happened. It's now biting them in the ass because now other people are doing that, but they're doing it for the Second Amendment, and they're telling people you can be vigilantes against gun owners, and that's still holding legal precedent. And you should know this. You're in that industry.
But the thing is,
what industry is that?
I'm a paralegal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, fuck.
I held that
thought for this long, and
we can only walk as slow as our slowest person. So we have to make the rules for everybody.
You sometimes use that whole I think like this to excuse your lack of empathy sometimes.
I have a tremendous amount of empathy.
Okay, but not on everything.
No, but I have to see the truth behind it, which is you can't make a law against saying one thing because it violates the Constitution. We're not trying to
make a law against, we're just holding people accountable here.
We're going to do that socially.
Do you think that it's okay that this man is finally being held accountable for doing all the shit that people have asked him to stop doing?
I think that
he's been accused by more people than, or as many as Bill Cosby.
I think that if it's a social reckoning, meaning like if people are saying I'm not going to buy tickets to go see this team, I'm not going to support this industry, I'm not going to support this particular company, then yes, I think that's completely appropriate.
You don't think that as a company he can be removed if he's affecting the morale of the team? That's what the article said. But he's always affected the morale of the team.
But
it's
again,
not like the Phoenix Suns are like
that's private industry.
Winning.
That's private industry. That's fine. They can totally do that.
Okay.
I'm just saying we can't start to govern with that sort of mentality. Because
no one's making a law based on
look,
this.
Everybody would like to arrest the guys, wearing khakis and fucking carrying tiki torches. You know, everybody would like to arrest them. But as soon as we arrest them, we've got to arrest everybody who steps out of pocket.
Well, they already got arrested after they did the insurrection, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, we also can just like try to, you know, raise people now that are like not, you know, misogynist and racist.
By the way,
that's a good point, Brax.
Right, because I think like I feel like Terry, like what I'm hearing is, what do you expect? He's an old white man with privilege, but at some point, if we want to shift that from just being what we say, then it's like, how do we raise new people to not, you know, have like the ability to like do that?
That's a good point. And I think the main keystone of that point is privilege. Because, you know, if you were just a regular old construction worker, a dirt farmer or whatever in the South, I think that you were forced to kind of evolve a lot more. But I think the privilege thing definitely comes into play so much stronger, where it's like, it's almost like, it's not even a racial thing. It's like a classist thing. It's like, I've got all this, so I'm obviously better, so I can do what I want. And you guys just, you know,
people clean up your problems for you.
Let me just jump in here about how people think that they're better.
Sure.
I think that Pete Davidson thinks that he's better than a lot of people right now. Y'all.
He's so
that guy.
He is a sex symbol.
He's not. He looks like a cancer survivor. He's like, not.
Davidson make it to sex symbol status.
You know,
I have no idea.
Wait, guys, I read an article about how Pete Davidson has a dildo made after his dick.
Yeah, I seen that today.
Like, who's to blame? How did this all of a sudden happen?
I mean, I don't even sleep with men or really like men, and I actually think he's like super hot, but it's weird because I thought that when I saw some movie with him where I don't know what it was, like he played someone that was like dropped out of high school. I don't know, I forget now, but it's weird. He's like ugly, but like has sex appeal. It's like this weird thing that I like already thought.
I know what it is.
You know what I'm talking about? Like I already thought that like a year ago, and then I seen this article today. I'm like, what?
No, I want both of y'all to go ahead because I already know the answer to this.
Let me just say this. I get
it's the hair and the tattoos.
I have been turned on by men that aren't conventionally handsome. You know what I'm saying?
He has something.
You got that swag. You got that big dick energy. That's
and he's tall. Yeah,
he's tall.
You're never gonna find.
Funny.
Look, the reason women like Pete Davidson. Look, he's not particularly handsome, right? He's not particularly talented. Like he's a featured player. Like he's okay on Saturday Night Live. But he's no Kate McKinnon. You know what I mean? Like he's not making huge waves and gonna have a big career. It's not like that. You know what I think it is? He's damaged. He's damaged, and women like damaged things. He's unstable. He's got
the emo look kind of.
And there's a natural
I haven't seen the dick
inclination in women to try and take care of the broken, right? Because every woman's been in a relationship where they're like, I can fix it. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's a good point because like lately, Pete Davidson has been seen with Kim K, right? And clearly, she's like,
I didn't realize the age difference was so big.
What'd you say, Brax?
There's an age difference too between them.
Well,
right?
Yeah,
like
but he
almost 15 years.
Well, he was dating Kate Beckinsale, and she's like almost 50, I believe.
So he almost has like this feminine piece. He almost seems feminine to me, though. I think the women like that too.
He looks like a heroin addict. What do you mean feminine?
I know, but it's like that emotional. He has like this emotional look.
No, he's broken, and that's why you want to fix him.
No way. I don't think that's it. I think that there's just a swag.
Maybe he's good at sex. I don't know.
I heard that he's got the piece, and that's why they're making the piece after him. You know,
that's funny. Is it like molded after?
How do you think I get the ladies? You know.
I don't know, Terry. How do you get?
You got to be more broken.
And I know how to use it. That's why.
Okay, go on and brag to our followers.
I'm not going to brag to her.
I said to our followers.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Barking up the wrong tree there.
Well, Brax said that they might be into Pete Davidson, so
Well,
Yeah,
I'm no Pete Davidson.
you got to dye your hair, get some tattoos, and be a dick.
No, I'm more of a Ron Swanson type.
And you're right. They did say that like he's a very sweet man.
He definitely is. Seems like he cries for sure, and with them.
And you know, people with mental illnesses, they tend to be.
We just fucking went there, like what?
Because he cries, he's mentally ill.
No. I know. Just hear the rest. I was saying people with mental illnesses tend to be a lot more empathetic, tend to be a lot more in touch with their emotions, just because they have to deal with them more and more. Like
Right.
I'm just saying, my personal battles with anxiety and depression have definitely made me more.
Yeah, I get that.
It's made me more vulnerable, and it's made me more attuned to my own feelings.
I just gotta let Jason Pellish know, yes, we are actually live. And
yeah, come over, Jason.
Jason said, Jason should you should let us shoot from your studio, Jason. We need to talk to you about that. He says, hey, it's me again. I should be able to say the N-word if I want.
You can, in your house, alone, by yourself.
Terry,
I just don't understand what the appeal about saying it is. Like,
it's because they can't.
No,
I know, but
exactly
like,
what it is.
then I'll just let it go. Like, I'm not going to debate you and be like, well, teenagers say it, so why can't I? Like,
it's not a problem. It's not a problem with Black people. It's a problem with authority. You told us we couldn't.
But just take the fucking L, bro. Like, people take the L all the time.
It's in here. It's in here.
But that's silly to me.
I used to have a joke where I would talk about that I only say the N-word in my own house, and I only say it to my cat. Where's the victim? Who is he? Doesn't even speak English.
But knowing that the history of the harm, I just don't know why you'd want to say it. Like, there's so many other things.
Because you told me I couldn't.
Because they are white men and they can do anything.
No, it's because you told me I couldn't. Look, if somebody tells you don't,
but I feel like
the first thing you want to do is
it's like the first thing. Like, if you're trying to make like the system better, how easy is it to like not say the N-word? Like, no one's asking you to go to a protest and get arrested. That's actually hard. Like, a lot harder to do.
I used to have another joke that kind of supports your point, which you'd be, you know, we enslaved people. We did horrible things as a white culture. We did terrible, terrible things. And all we have to do to pay for that is not say one word. Shut the fuck up. We're getting off easy. And I totally get that side of it too. You know?
All right. But like, you know who loves to say the N-word, y'all? Conservatives. And conservatives,
pretty much the only ones.
They don't just love saying the N-word. They are using one girl's rape as a mean to push a transphobic agenda, and they are wrongly labeling a rape that happened to a girl in London County, Virginia. And basically, this is a story I've been hearing about it every day on Randy Rhodes for a while, but she was dating this boy who did wear skirts, but he identified as a boy. They would meet up in the girl's bathroom and have sex. On the particular day the girl was raped, she didn't want to have sex. She said no, he did it anyway. That is still rape. And now everyone's saying that he was trans and he was using the girl's bathroom and he used it as a way to rape this girl. That's what conservatives are saying. And why are they doing this, y'all? Who's to blame?
Actually, I just want to point this out. The most disturbing thing that I heard from everything you just said was the fact that you pronounced it London County when it's Loudoun County.
Oh, okay. It's small.
You see the left brain going?
I didn't have it on the big screen.
It's right there. I'm looking at it. Loudoun County.
It's tiny.
All right.
Well, okay. The thing is, so yeah, that's obviously like terrible that happened to this person, and you know, people are going to buy into propaganda. I guarantee the majority of the people like don't actually know the facts, because like given that like this wasn't I'm going to pretend that I'm trans, get into the bathroom, rape this person situation. There's like so I think that's not what happened, but most people that are upset are probably hearing the propaganda of that's why we can't have this, because people are abusing it. With that said, even if that was what happened, I still feel like that's kind of an anomaly. Like the actual argument for people to be able to use the bathroom that they're comfortable in, or whatever they identify as, like that's a bigger conversation. But I think at the same time, I think we should validate. Like I know people that actually would be concerned about that, like thinking that men are pedophiles and they're gonna like fuck their little girls. But I think it's really there's not enough education on the topic, right? Like people don't even understand what trans is half the time. And I'm someone that like in my head feels like a boy and I'm constantly teaching people about pronouns. So I really do want to empathize with the other side. But to answer the question, Gio, I think it also just has to do with sorry, do you go by Gio or Giovanni? I don't want to like mess up what you go by.
Giovanni. No,
well,
okay.
no, she's Blamegirl.
By the way, like I love the whole joke with the
it's fine. Just don't call me bitch.
Okay. But no, yeah, I don't think there's enough education on it. And I guarantee like
she's a her, she, by the way.
Her, she, okay.
Say my pronouns.
I'm telling her.
Them. You didn't.
I'm sorry. I'm telling it.
Them, not it, them.
Them.
Them, yeah. Them, yeah. It's all good. So, but yeah, I guarantee that people who like they didn't actually get the facts, because if they did, it's not really a good argument. That like I think it's fucked up. And I think to me that just goes back to also teaching about consent and training people to like not rape people. But as far as like the bathroom thing, that's actually not like argument, because that's not what happened.
I think it's the election season. I think that they were like, let's use this. It's gonna roll them up, and they fucking did.
Well, and not only that, the whole bathroom.
Yeah, it's strategy.
The whole bathroom argument's been a moot argument. It's been a paper tiger from the very beginning. First of all, you can't go into that bathroom. Really? Is there a security guard? Is somebody going to stop me? Because as a grown man who's 40 years old, I've walked in the women's bathroom on accident probably half a dozen times.
Yeah, I do that too.
And all it is embarrassing at that point. You're like, oh shit, there's no urinals, and you just bounce out. But it doesn't matter. It's no protection. It's a way to make different people feel isolated. That's all it is. It's a way to make anybody who's different. It's a xenophobic point of view where you say, no, you're different, you're weird, so just keep your weirdness over here. Even though if you took like a trans man, for instance, everybody talks about trans women. Let's talk about trans men for a second. Yeah. You take, because I knew a girl in my high school that transitioned and became a man. Well, she looks like a man. She did the hormone therapy, everything. She got a beard. She's got a beard. She dresses like a man. Imagine having to walk into a woman's bathroom like that.
That would be.
You're gonna feel like.
I don't think most guys would care either if he was in the men's bathroom.
And by the way, who gives it? Who gives a shit?
Point. That's a good point. You don't see as many.
There's a double standard with trans women and trans men. Yeah,
they don't bring
there is.
Yeah. Like a huge double. Like it's a lot easier for me to be like, I feel like a boy, than if like a guy was like, I feel like a girl. Like this is double standard.
Right, and because. And it's because of the male insecurity. It's because of static male insecurity. Because they feel like if they accept it, that might be them one day. It's the same thing we had with the gay community back in the 90s. Like you can be gay if you want to, just keep it away from my kids because you'll turn them gay. That's that insecurity of like, keep the trans men away from me or trans women away from me. Because it'll make me think maybe I need to do that.
Or they just don't understand it. So I mean, transphobia is still real.
Yeah, they think it's some whole agenda. No, people are not gonna choose to go through that because they are pushing an agenda. It's because they really feel
there are people, and I've heard that argument, but there are people that would go through all that for attention or acclaim. You have known people in your life that have gone through.
Push a political agenda, I don't think so.
But that's not the point.
If it did, it would be anecdotal. Like
but that's not the point. Like there are people that would transition to get acclaim and money from sports and things like that.
I don't think they're gonna do all that.
What did you say, Brax?
I mean, it depends on what you mean by transition. Like someone that would actually go through like surgeries and take hormones. Like I think that there has to be like actual.
But you can stopgap that. That's the thing is there is a stopgap. Yeah, there is a stopgap between those. Like for instance, as far as I'm currently aware, Caitlyn Jenner's never gone through transition surgery, but she's still considered a woman now.
Well, she definitely had top surgery. I'm pretty sure.
She's had,
and she takes this like Caitlyn Jenner's almost an anomaly because the amount of money that it costs to do everything, like she did that shit in like a month. Like most trans women like to get the laser, you got the Adam's apple, like the estrogen. Like I just think it's got to be really hard to become a trans female. Like for me, all I would have to do literally, if I wanted to be like look more like a he, is like take testosterone, and I would probably get me a little beard, and I'll like, you know, wear a breast binder, and like that's it. But male to female is like a lot of fucking shit. Like I can't imagine.
I know.
Like think about it, like what you would have to do to be like passable, you know, because people don't like are like scared if you're not. Like it's just not, we're not there yet. I think like it's just like LGB is there, but the T is not there in society, unfortunately, the way it could be in the future. Like we have work to do.
But you know, I think that we'll get there. I think.
Oh yeah, we'll get there.
It takes time. This is new. Like people were not on board, and anyway.
So. I'm gonna say this. Like I said, it's such muddy waters right now because it's such a new thing that our society is trying to evolve into. There are definitely people that are aggressive and hateful in that group, but there are also people that get caught up in that bathwater of like, well, I just don't know what to do.
They don't understand it. Yeah.
Well, it's not even that. There's no precedent. We're creating it right now. We are creating the precedent right now. And it's important. Hang on. It's important that we don't throw the baby away with the bathwater. You know what I mean? Like there are some people that just are either ignorant or insecure, or, you know, they're not aware or they're not enlightened. And it's important not to just automatically demonize those people.
No, especially if they don't understand.
You should educate before you demonize. That's all I'm saying.
Can I just interject here? And I want to just say, I think like the main problem is that America is a Puritan nation.
Yes,
like it's very puritanical society, and they're like, oh my God, they can't process it.
That's right,
because of their religion. That's what I think.
And I think if you don't like, I don't really, this is a little personal, but like I feel like in my head way more like a boy than a girl, right? Regardless of my parts. I think if you don't feel that way, which is called cisgender, it's going to be a lot harder to understand, because people think it's like you're choosing, or it's like a joke, you know. And I don't hold that against people. I think that we just need to educate. Like I had like you know, I've worked in nonprofits with LGBT youth. I've been exposed to teenagers going through things, even that made me like reevaluate my own shit, because I was a teenager in the 90s and early 2000s. Like that was different then, like, you know. And so I think, you know, like when I was younger, I was like, okay, I'm a girl, but I'm
slow down. How old are you?
I'm old. I'm 35.
Girl,
everybody, God damn,
everybody thinks I'm like 23. I'm like, 25. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Oh yeah, I thought you were a baby. We're in our 40s.
I thought you were
cool. I'm glad to meet some folks that are, you know, like
when you said early in the 90s, I was like, what?
Yeah,
I know, but
they are close.
I feel like we didn't pay enough attention to that joke. I feel like I thought when I saw her, I'm like, she looks young enough for me to date. You know? Yeah. Daddy likes him young.
Yeah, no, I'm old. But no, let me give you an example, and then I don't want to make this all about me and my gender shit, but like, okay. So like when I was younger,
go ahead.
Like when I was younger, and like no one really talked about it in high school. And then when I was in college, like I'm taking sociology classes, right? I know it probably sounds like super white, but basically like we talked about like gender being constructed. And I remember thinking like,
you froze up?
Oh, okay. So girl, but I'm like, you know, like I'm not like doing all the socially constructed girl shit, right? And then as I got older into my mid to late 20s, it was like a whole baffling thing, because I met like trans folks that were like younger and they're teenagers, and it was almost like and this is not like one size fits all, like I don't want to be problematic, like people are going to have all different opinions and experiences, but some of the trans folks that I met, they actually believed in like the binary gender roles. They just felt like they were born on the wrong side of them. And then that like threw me off, because I was like, shit, so am I really like, is the gender roles real? Like I know they're constructed, but is there truth to them? And I'm just meant to be a boy, right? So that's different, because I think our generation kind of was taught more to like accommodate. And then now I think people are really able to be their full selves. And I'm having to like think through that at like 35. It's just different.
This is the thing, Brax. gender is a newly constructed idea, and it was constructed to push capitalism. So
Yeah,
it's like,
that's
you're a
right.
girl, you're gonna wear pink, you're a boy, you're gonna wear blue, and then that's
What do you mean newly?
it is. It's newly in the 20th century. That's when they started really pushing gender, boy, girl.
It's been like 3,000 years. What are you talking about?
No, but it's
Like,
been like
you can go back to ancient.
You mean like
Egypt and
the
find
like
gender
social
roles.
reproductive
But it's
theory
been-
or whatever? Yeah.
Been pushed on the masses like this,
Yeah.
this, and this, and like
That's not.
wait, let
that's
me
not
finish.
recent.
Terry, stop
It's not
interrupting.
recent.
Fuck off! Stop interrupting me. You know what is recent?
What?
I will say this is because the Black community is very unaccepting of trans, LGBT.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
a
yo,
whole topic too.
if you want to embrace white supremacy, you can be. But before Africa had the Europeans come down, they had people that engaged in, you know, they it was a female that represented herself as a male. They had gay sex, and it was no big deal.
Unpopular opinion.
That is something that came with white supremacy and religion. And that's what's got us all fucked up. Like, people
I'm gonna go
don't
against
have
it.
to be, you don't have to have long hair as a girl. You don't have to wear pink as a girl or
Yeah.
trans. You know, like, this is something that is newly constructed.
Unpopular opinion here. This isn't new. It's not new at all.
Mansplain to us about
I'm
gender.
not. Okay, I'm not mansplaining. I'm giving my opinion.
We're listening.
My opinion is this is not new. This is human nature. The essence of human nature is build up your tribe, get to a place, and then you get to make the rules and oppress other people. And no, seriously, like look at
well,
no,
why
no.
do you have to
So why don't you
oppress?
just give me a second?
Well, why do you have to oppress? Why does oppression have to?
Because it's
'Cause you're a
human
white man. That's
nature.
right.
It's been
Okay.
human nature for 20,000 years. To once you get to a certain level that you hold dominion over a smaller group. That's all it is. White people did it to black people, and
That's
then
gotta
black
stop.
people rose up, and now you're doing it to trans people.
Don't teach
And
your kids that, Terry.
I'm
I
not.
don't know if I would say you're doing it to trans people. Like, not all Black people are transphobic.
You're right, and not all white
Yeah.
people are racist, but it's still a problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, like it is human nature to be.
I think it's a little different though. Like, I think if you're white, like you, and this is my opinion, like 100%, I'm not speaking for anyone else, but I think you have a responsibility a little bit to like talk about racism, even if you're not racist. But like, if you're Black, I don't know if it's your responsibility to talk about trans stuff, even though like I don't think you should be transphobic, but I just think it's a little different.
I follow you.
Historically,
I
you
don't
know,
think
because like
that at all.
historically it's a little different. Like,
We don't have to
I
talk
agree.
about it, but the Black community definitely does hate on the gay and trans.
I don't know if it's, I think, again, this is probably fucked up to say, I don't think it's the Black community. I think the Caribbean community sometimes could be challenging. Jamaican folks, like
the
Asian
African
folks, like
community, for
it could be
sure.
challenging.
The
But then
Black
again,
community
like not everybody.
Yeah, it's because of religion. That's exactly
Yeah,
right.
it's religion.
Because
And
we look
also,
a number of African countries where homosexuality is still legal. You still get
well, again,
in
yeah,
prison.
that was taught by white supremacy. Go
That's
ahead,
right.
Brax.
We taught them that, and they
yeah,
learned
I
it.
mean, I think again, like people just don't always understand it, and like I may be out of pocket here, but I could imagine for some older Black folks, they don't want their kids to have a harder life. It's already hard enough, right? So like, it could be hard enough in certain parts of the country. So I don't know. I just feel like I don't hold it against people, but I also, you know, I don't know. I think there's like obviously like more work. I mean, honestly, I don't know what it's like. I just know that like if I was Black and I felt like how I feel and my family wasn't accepting of it, like that would be hard, right? And that's also what a lot of my Black friends are going through. Like if their family like not accepting of it.
I didn't even realize like how blessed I am that I'm not LGBT, but if I were, I know my family would accept me. You know what I'm saying? And I have a Black family, so
yeah.
I don't know.
Wait.
I don't know if mine would.
You know who else has a Black family? This is a horrible transition.
That's a terrible transition.
Travis Scott.
Why this? now?
You've been killing it all night with the transitions. It's so funny. Like you're like
So
shifting
bad, though.
gears, and I'm like,
Terrible.
that's the next
No,
transition.
but I gotta move us on, guys. This has been a
I hear
great
that.
discussion.
I hear
Brax,
that.
we'll have to have you back. But so everyone has heard by now, Travis Scott, he had a concert at what was the old Astroworld. I've been to the old Astroworld, and it resulted in 8 deaths and hundreds of injuries and left many people traumatized. Basically, what happened is they have the concert, people break through the barriers and like condenses.
We
and,
all
like,
saw the video.
Yeah. So who's to blame here, y'all?
The new generation, the biggest piece of shit nothing generation on earth. Yeah, that one. Look, and it's not just them. I'm not just gonna put it all on them, because every year on Black Friday there's a story like this too. Somebody trying to get
I didn't even think about Black Friday.
somebody
that's like a
trying to
whole
get
thing.
a
Yeah.
TV for $100 and they don't care about again, it goes back to human nature. I'm gonna take care. We are human beings are pieces of shit. We are animals just like anything else.
I like
And if we don't
better.
if we don't put ourselves in check, we revert back to those primal instincts. I mean, how many people do you have to step on before you stop and go, oh shit, maybe this isn't worth it for a fucking concert, you know?
I'm stepping. Brax, what do you got to say?
Yeah, I think I mean, I think I'm still a little naive because I'm still having a hard time like fathoming how this actually happened. I didn't see the video, but I read the article and I heard about it yesterday as well, and saw pictures. And I'm just like so naive. I'm like, how's that happen? Because yeah, like you could say, let's blame, the people supposed to be doing crowd control, or the venue was like at capacity and all of that type of like lefty shit in the brain that you're talking about, Terry. But I think, or like not leftist, you know what I mean? Like left brain. But I think yeah. And then again, it's like we're not perfect people, so we can say now like, how do we let that happen? But then if I'm there and I'm all the adrenaline of seeing this person, I may overlook what's around me. But I don't know, I'm still confused because it just still seems like for someone to die from that like seems like it has to be pretty bad, right? Like you could like get bruised and like go like this and duck, but if you're actually like not breathing and you pass away, and I don't know all the causes of death, so but like it just seems like for that to actually happen is like pretty devastating. And how do we prevent that? Because
it shows
the Black Friday thing is like a joke almost. People just go into a Black Friday thinking, well, yeah, don't, I mean, I've never participated in Black Friday, but I feel like I could see how people say like, that's just what happens. But this is like an event with youth, not that like it's, okay if someone dies on Black Friday, but it's an event with youth. Like how is that not prevented?
It's because of capitalism. I gotta say,
everything is capitalism. Everything everything is about capitalism. We live in the USA, man. It's always like that.
I went to Dave Matthews in the summertime. Oh my God, that was so bad.
I didn't even know he still was playing.
Dave Matthews.
I went to that shit in 2002.
Yo, my girl Mindy is a big fan. I was like,
that was an appropriate time.
But I went and I was like, it was like in the summertime and I was still scared of COVID. And I was like, yo, it is too packed in here. And I stayed on the outskirts because
that must be scary.
I went and sat. I was like, I can't be in that crowd. I think I might be agoraphobic. So just the story itself makes me fucking crazy. I can't imagine. Like I can't even be at a concert. I got to be backstage so I can run off. And
the older I get, I don't like that many people around me either. So, but anyway, yeah, I mean,
it's human nature. It's what we do. It's a herd mentality, and once we get into it, it's the same thing as when you watch like one of those healing evangelical preachers and they lay hands. It's all mob mentality. That's what it is. You're a part of the mob. Nobody listening to this would willingly stomp somebody to death. But if you put them in a big enough crowd and the crowd is pushing against you, you're fighting against a wave at that point.
It's just
a wave. So it's either,
that's pretty sad
it's either try to fight the wave and fall yourself, or it's go with the flow and stomp somebody else. And it really comes down to our humanity, to be honest. It's like humans need to evolve all the way around. And we're in this weird transitional space where, everybody wants to be different. Everybody wants to stand out. And then you throw social media into it. You throw the internet into it, new ideas, all this information coming at you, 10,000 minutes a second. You know what I mean? And it's like, of course we're going crazy. Of course we're We're
Yeah.
monkeys with this brains the size of planets. It's crazy. You know what I mean? Like we don't understand ourselves. How are we gonna understand the world? I mean,
Yeah.
we should have explored and conquered the human mind before we ever went to space. You know what I mean? Like what matters more, to be honest? You know, what makes a
Well,
person
the space thing was also political, right? Like, wasn't Russia trying to do all that too in the 50s? And so, I think there's something to be
sure, but
said
so
for
are
like,
we.
no, I agree, but I'm saying I think the more I understand like our country and the history, it's like we want to have leverage on all the different things. So if another country is like going to space, we're going to go to space. I'm just saying, like, like we need to have
Yeah, I mean,
leverage.
I get the idea of it, but sometimes it's just better to let the baby have its bottle. You know what I mean? Like when you're driving on the road and somebody's being all crazy and erratic trying to get around you, sometimes it's better just to hit the brake and let them go. Because if you
Yeah.
try to fight against it, they're going to take you down with them. Sometimes it's better just to let Darwinism take effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And let's clean. I've said it since the beginning of this pandemic.
That sounds like
the only thing I hate about COVID is that it's not more deadly. Like we need to clear out some of this dead brush in our gene pool. No, we do. We need to clear out some of the dead brush in our gene pool so that the species can evolve.
I gotta say this. Well, okay, people are laughing. Y'all are horrible people.
It's because I'm making good points.
No.
That's why. Look, if you look.
Stop. I'm just glad that we don't have any dead brush on the show. I want to go ahead and move on.
All right.
Brax,
I was about to get going.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for being our guest tonight. You have been a great guest because it is 7:50 and we have been.
Is it 7:50 already?
We've been having.
Damn.
I'm a talker.
This is a very good discussion.
It's been great.
Yeah.
We'll have to get you back on. So, but we want to know more about you. So, as a comedian,
I just want to throw out a compliment. I knew when we did that show on Saturday at that terrible little Caribbean restaurant.
Don't throw shade.
I'm throwing shade. Look, I have known Dan Weiss since I started, but I'm sorry that it was the worst service I'd ever received.
I was appalled.
I
spend money.
How are you going to bring me?
I feel you.
You're going to bring me a room temperature beer and charge me $5 for it? Fuck you.
They had somebody.
Not with a Hooters next door.
I'm not Terry Wayne. Wayne.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I think we could talk about improvements for sure.
Well, that's got nothing to do with anybody in particular. That's just got to do with effort.
So anyway, as I was saying, Brax, welcome to the show.
Cool, thank you.
It's great to have you on. So how long have you been doing comedy?
I'll be on my 4-month anniversary tomorrow.
What?
That's right.
4 months.
Oh,
but I saw her at the show and I was like, she'll be a good guest. That's what I thought. Huh?
They.
I'm sorry.
They'll be a good guest.
Look,
yeah, just gotta practice.
I'm trying. This is all muscle memory.
I'm fucking up too, but
it's muscle memory. That's all it is. I've been there.
That's don't worry. I don't mean to be offensive.
It's no shame.
You're not offensive, but I appreciate.
I've enjoyed our conversation. I'm glad that I reached out to you because
thank you.
Once I heard you set, I was like, they have a good head on their shoulders, and they'll make good points. How about that?
Right,
Did I do it right?
Appreciate that.
All right, thanks.
So you've been only in the game for 4 months. That's crazy. What was your motivation to get in?
So when I have a goal, I just usually execute on it. And I think back in June, like a little before because the 4 months like July 9th. And in June, I know it sounds crazy, but I literally just like woke up one day. And I've always been, I'm not trying to be like brag, but most people have told me that I'm funny, like naturally. And I've been very entertaining, like to people. And I love like storytelling. And so I've always kind of had in the back of my head, like I should do stand-up, but I never executed on it. And then I woke up in July one day and was like, in June, and was like, I turned 35 this year, like it's now or never if I'm going to go for this plan. And then I just really was like, okay, so how do we go for this plan? So I spent like 2 weeks like it was not even 2 weeks, a week and a half, like just going to different open mics and observing, because I was like, I got to get the lay of the land of just like how it works, because someone told me, you should just start going to open mics, and I had no idea how many open mics there are in South Florida. I'm naive. I thought it was gonna be like 2 places. It's saturated down here, which I mean is great. I'm sure it's like that everywhere. So anyway, I went to a few open mics, and then thankfully, like one of the comedians just like was like, you just got to do it. Cause I was like, oh, I'm not going to go on for like a month. I just want to observe. And then I just like did my first set without really having a set planned, and it went well. And then I've just been diving in like 3, 4, 5 nights a week. So yeah.
That's how you got to do it. I actually took classes to.
Well, I did take an improv class. I just finished too.
Okay. Improv or comedy?
So improv, because it was a prerequisite for the comedy. My goal was to take a comedy class.
Which group?
At Villain Theater, they have a prerequisite. You have to take the improv before their stand-up. And at first, I was like a little like, I don't know if I want to take that, because I want to do stand-up and it's a different muscle. But I actually ended up really finding joy in improv, very different. And I actually think it's like a really cool art form that I may continue, but I'm on a budget. So
improv helps you, like, I feel like with like crowd work,
Yeah.
Is that Sick Puppies that works out of Villain?
No, it's Villain Theater.
Villain Theater, Little Haiti in Miami.
All right.
No, it's really different, but I really enjoyed it.
I know.
And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was once a week for like 6 to 8 weeks, from like end of August to mid-October. But I ended up really enjoying it. So it's very different though than stand-up.
Since you haven't been doing it long. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to pay a compliment. To start when you're 35, to me is crazy, right? Because
I could go to law school. That's crazier.
Hang on before you unleash the dogs. Let me finish. Because I started when I was 30, and I already felt like I was aged out. Like, because when I started, here it is, I'm working with all these 20-year-olds, and they've already got good sets, and I'm still working on my first 5 minutes. And this was 10 years ago, but it's like I already felt out of my depth. And I remember having a conversation with somebody about it, just saying, like, I feel like I can't even start this. And they said, what do you want to do with you? And I said, I just want to do it. That's it. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to, like, I don't want to become a professional or anything like that. I enjoy the art form, and that's it. And I feel like I'm already aged out. And to see somebody start at 35 and then still have confidence with it, that's kind of impressive, to be honest.
Well, I started at like 38, so fuck off.
But anyway, Terry, come on, that's your like BFF right here.
I was just trying to pay the guest a compliment.
You trying
what
to talk
the
about
fuck?
yourself.
This is
So I have 30 years, is what you're telling me. I'm early.
Yeah, no, I don't listen to anything Terry is saying. I do get like maybe feeling out of place in some spaces.
Well, yeah, I'm always older than everybody. Like everyone's
I always felt out of place.
When I was gonna say with some of these kids, but there's a space for us.
Yes, I would go to a show and I'd be the only person there with a wife. You know what I mean? And it just felt weird.
I don't have a wife, so I feel like
well, I don't have a wife now either, but I did at the time. Okay, so and it just felt weird.
Enough about Terry. What has been your biggest challenge over the last 4 months that you?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't have one. I think sometimes it feels hard when like I have jokes that land in some places and then in other places they don't. And it's not always like about demographics. It's just like, maybe it was too loud, maybe people were drunk, maybe I went on too late, like all these other variables. But it feels like for me, I think my experience so far of doing comedy almost has felt like an abusive relationship, because I'm taking it too seriously. Like when I don't feel like I don't mean this in an arrogant way. I don't feel like I've really bombed, but when I don't do well at times, and it feels like a bomb, it's like this discouraging feeling. And then like the day before or the day after, you can do really well. And then you're like super on top of the world. And I'm like, man, this is like not healthy.
That's a perfect analogy.
Is that what y'all feel too?
Yeah.
Like,
no, that is a perfect analogy, because you have that terrible set, especially in the beginning when you're first starting, you have that terrible set and it hangs with you for days. You wake up going,
you can't make eye contact with anyone when you get off stage.
Else, by the way,
fuck.
To all the new comics, nobody else remembers. Nobody cares as much as you do. Nobody. There's no scouts in the audience. You know what I mean? If you bomb or set the place on fire. It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to remember. So just side note on that one. But I totally get that, because it's like an abusive relationship, because you get that one good set and you're like, oh, he does love me, or whatever. You know what I mean?
That's what it
like,
is.
oh, he does love me because he did this one thing once.
They do.
Yeah.
They do love me. And then
okay, I'm doing my own.
The crowd is
okay,
I'm
all right.
being grammatically correct.
He, she, whatever. It doesn't matter.
So you're
so that and then
go ahead.
Yeah, I think like that's just like part of it. I think for me, I'm just like we're constantly trying to improve, and I'm like in phase 2 where I know that's in my own head, like, but I'm like trying to like work more on crowd work, because I think like if you put me on stage and you were like, just do crowd work, I think I'd actually be really good at it, because with improv, it's kind of like that. You're just making shit up and going with it. I think where I like haven't felt like I'm good at crowd work is that I don't want to veer too much from my set, because then I'm going to run out of time. And so now I'm trying to be intentional with the crowd work, because before I would just ask questions that were just like rhetorical and then like go back to my set. And now I'm thinking, if I'm going to ask questions, I need to be able to lean into the responses. And then if it veers me off, like, that's okay. I don't know. That's not a challenge, but I'm trying to work through that.
I think that once you find that you're getting more time to do your set, that will be helpful. Because I've only been in it 3 years. I'm not 10 like Terry, but like I've noticed that as I've gotten these like longer sets, like 15, 20 plus minutes, you want to have that improv. You want to be able to do that crowd work. But if you're doing a set, you want to give them your best, because even though Terry's like, there's no scouts, you never know who might be in the crowd.
That's the way I think too. You never know.
I've been at Villain Theater, and there's been like people that wrote for NBC in the crowd. So you do want to always give your best, and you know what I'm saying? You never know who's
you should want to give your best just because you want to give your best performance. Okay.
Yeah, that's
because you think somebody, because then it creates a pressure that every time somebody of influence is there, now you're going to change the way you're going to do things.
Well, speaking of pressure, I'm an asshole that like told everyone I was doing comedy like the first week. And so I feel like I have this bad habit of being excited about something, and then like I have all this pressure to deliver because I like made it a thing. And it was the same thing on like a less like happy topic, like, but I'm cool with it. Like I spent like 9 months like trying to get pregnant 2 years ago through insemination, and I was so naive. Like I went up to like people like within the first attempt that I like knew from work. They're like, "What's new?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm about to get pregnant." Like I was just telling people that shit, like it's gonna happen, and then they're all disappointed when I wasn't getting pregnant. And so but it's like a thing with me. I just get excited and I tell everyone what I'm up to. So with the comedy, it's added to me having to like dive in, because I feel like people are asking me how it's going.
That's a positive and a negative, because if you do it, then you like it holds you accountable. You're like, well, I told everybody I'm doing, I gotta do it now.
You should always,
I put all that pressure on myself.
always downplay about everything in your life.
I don't downplay anything. Like, although I think in relationships,
I'm just saying, like, downplay everything. It's just a smarter path to go down.
I hear that. I'm trying to learn.
You're not creating
Terry's mansplaining.
No, I'm just saying you're not creating. It took me a long time to learn this, but you're not creating any anticipation. Yeah. And then sometimes you're actually drawing people in because you're not telling them what it is, and that
no, I feel that.
Inquisitive, what do they call it? Inquisitiveness of them. That inquisitiveness of them, then it creates that thing. It's kind of like I knew a comic once that speaks very low, very quiet, and I thought, man, you really need to amplify that. And everybody told her, oh, you got to amplify your voice, and she didn't. She stuck with it. But by keeping her voice low, it actually drew the crowd in more, because everybody shut the fuck up because they were trying to hear what she was saying. So like, it's a constant evolving thing, just being a person and learning how to get along. And then we throw all these extra bullshit into it. It's like, it's terrible for everybody. I'm sorry, but I hate to be that one, but being alive kind of sucks sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, for everybody, it just does.
So Brax, before we wrap up, we want to know, who are you? Like, how long you been in Florida? Where you from? Day job? You mentioned a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know.
I don't have a podcast. Been exploring the idea. But I'm a terrible millennial. No, so I know y'all are like not millennials, but
You're a terrible millennial because you don't.
I should be like
That's why.
57. Like I feel like I'm like anyway. So I grew up in Miami, lived here till I was 18, left for 10 years. I'm gonna give you the quick script.
Where'd you go?
I went to Asheville, North Carolina for 5 years, and then Austin, Texas, the
Asheville.
other 5.
Very progressive there.
I'm very
Yeah.
familiar with Asheville.
Yeah. No, so yeah, I was in Asheville for 5, and then I went to Austin, Texas for the other 5.
Shut up! I'm from Austin. Okay, go
That's
Look
ahead.
at
dope.
that. You can
Yeah.
connect us to both of us. How about
Yeah.
that?
So I lived in those 2 places back to back for a total of 10 years, moved back here. My family's here. My parents now have moved to North Carolina, but most of my family's here. So yeah, I've been back now. What is it? Like 7.5 years. It's crazy. And yeah, I'm 35, and I pretty much all my jobs, like other than like side gigs and hospitality jobs, have always been in nonprofit. And I'm currently, I'm just I did a lot of social work type stuff. And then more recently, like past 5-6 years, I'm doing more like fundraising and like nonprofit management. Like that's my day stuff. And then at night, you know, I'm doing the comedy. But I have no, I have no, what's it called? Like not pride, but like right. Okay, I'll give you, like, I'm trying to like, you know, the rent's going up a lot, and I need to like make, I need to like pay off debt and like make extra cash. So like, I literally been doing Uber Eats. Like I gave Plasma for money the other day because they'll pay you like over $100 for that. So I'm not like someone that's like, oh, I'm too good for shit, you know? So even though I have a salary job, it's still tough out here.
Well, I appreciate you being honest, but you don't have to be that honest. And by the way, I'm going to branch off for 1 second.
I feel stupid. Why do you got to do
I'm going to take my veto for 1 second. Because I just wanted to ask you about one thing, and I don't want you to be offended by this, okay? Because it is a generally inquisitive question.
I'm terrified.
You were talking about getting pregnant in vitro.
Not
right?
in vitro, insemination.
Okay, I'm sorry, insemination.
In vitro would be like the last resort, because that's like a whole loan right there. So.
Right. Well, here's the thing. I think, again, just as a practical person, like as a left brain practical person.
Oh no, don't say it, Terry.
I'm gonna ask.
Don't say it.
Why wouldn't it just be better just to find somebody that you know and you like and of the opposite gender, just to, you know.
Yeah. So
I'm only saying that because I know how expensive it is.
He's offering up his sperm.
No, I'm not.
No,
I know how expensive it is. And when I hear about a woman getting in vitro for $20,000,
like more like 30.
I know she didn't say that, but I'm giving that as an example because I don't know enough about what.
So I appreciate the question. We would need a whole other podcast to talk about this, but briefly, so in vitro is not always just because like a female can't find a dick. It's like married couples do in vitro. It actually has to do with like if you're not able to get pregnant the natural way, then people resort to in vitro because there's like a lot more. Basically, if you have fertility issues, you would do in vitro. So I didn't do in vitro. I just did like them putting, you know, the sperm up my cervix into my uterus, like planting it in there, which is the cheapest option, but each time it would still cost me like $1,500, and I had like, you know, at least 6 attempts, so it adds up. Money, yeah, but here's the thing, to answer your question, I hear you. Like I'm like that too. I said several times, why don't I just have sex with a guy and try the natural way? I think where that gets tricky.
I was actually more thinking of a friend. I was thinking more
either way, a friend or whoever. It gets tricky because you're like, do I want to go into this with this person? Like, first of all, you know, like they have to take tests. Like, you're not just going to have like unprotected sex with someone. I mean, I wouldn't, right? So I think for me, where it kind of felt naive was when my friends, and not my friends, but random people would be like, yeah, just go have sex with a guy. I'm like, well, first of all, most men, if you were to tell them, I want to get pregnant, they're not going to have sex with you. Like, come on. So like the only way to do it would be to not tell them. And now I'm looking at, okay, so this, that's so unethical for me to get pregnant with someone's baby and them not know. They could come and sue me for custody. So the moment I say to a guy, like, because I've had these conversations with a few guys in my life, like, oh, okay, so we're going to co-parent, or you can waive all your rights. Either way, we'll get in a lawyer and notarize everything in advance. We're going to have sex. I'm going to be the parent. If you want to be involved, like we can go as far as 50-50, or you can have no relationship. Like I've done all that. I think the catch is that if a woman actually were to bring that up to you, I think you wouldn't just say yes right away. Like most people still have hope for like finding their own partner. And I don't know if they're willing to actually commit to that. And so it's a little bit more complicated.
Well,
you know what? Have you ever heard of these men that
incels?
No,
just pick an
no,
incel.
no.
They'll do it.
They're these guys that
Incels? Well, I don't know what that is.
they want to
involuntary celibate. Yeah.
They want to impregnate women. It was a Law and Order episode with John Stamos.
There we
and he
go.
fucking
That's
was
a
just
fiction.
impregnated.
It's fiction.
No, this is a thing. There's men out there that just.
I also have standards, though. Let's remember, I'm not just gonna get at anyone's.
I agree.
I got standards. Like if I know you, I'm gonna be harder about it because I know your family, and I'm like, oh, I don't want those grandparents involved. You know.
Actually, I was thinking more genetically. I was thinking more like find somebody that looks like they have good genes. So that way you can have those good genes to take forward. I was thinking more like that. But again, I'm very crazy left-brained.
No,
so
I hear you. I think it's just a complicated topic, you know, so.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
all right.
Let's move on from the complicated.
I'm sorry.
topic.
I was just curious. That's all.
Are y'all
I appreciate it.
The blame game.
No.
Yeah, let's play the blame game.
Brax,
let's do it.
You hate weed smokers. What the fuck? Who's the blame?
I saw that. You must have seen my little clip on Instagram. So I don't hate weed smokers. I will say that as chill as maybe I could come off, like I am like kind of a dick driver, and I wasn't always a bad driver. I'm not a bad driver actually at all, but I'm definitely like toxic, I think, because okay, I've been in my car way too much lately, more than ever, but I think it's because like I'm finally going back to the office after a year and a half of working from home, and I do fundraising, so I have to do a lot of in-person meetings, right? So that is all happening right when I'm going to comedy every night. And you know, I'm going to Homestead all the way to Pompano. So long story short, I've been in my car so much, and I'm notoriously always running late. And so I'm a really fast driver, and I feel like my brother and my dad, they're the same way. Like we just have these moves, we weave in and out of people. And lately I'm just like, why does everyone drive so fucking slow? Like I don't know if they're on their phone, their car is not, you know, maybe it's a privilege thing where I have a good car, their car is not as great, you know, they're high, right? And so when I was doing a set recently, and it was a crowd that was like, you could just tell, I don't know if they mentioned it, like everyone smokes pot all day. And so I just came up with a joke where I wanted to start it out like that and be like, where are all my weed smokers? Because I thought it'd be funny. And then to be like, oh, I hate all of you, you drive so slow. So that must be what you're referencing, right?
Yeah.
I try to, when we do the blame game, and because you are so new, I don't know that much about you to be.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
I did watch, and I was like, oh, what the fuck, you know?
No, I mean, I'm not really a weed smoker, but I don't hate. Like, I don't hate. I smoked pot before several times, like on and off, you know, in my life. So.
Well, I'm a medical card holder, and so is
you guys are like legit.
Medical information out there.
Weed is like
I'm sorry. Did I violate HIPAA?
Weed is like your coffee. Yeah.
Did I just violate HIPAA? Everybody who knows Geo knows. But anyway, yeah, if you know me, then you know me. But I get what you're saying, but I don't think that necessarily has to do with weed. I think
no, people are on their phone. They're on their phone. That's what
I think that most people are their worst version of themselves when they're behind the wheel of a car. And I know that's the same for me. I just drove back 9 hours from Georgia last night. You know what I mean? And I was wishing cancer on people's kids. I'm like, I'm like, get the fuck out of here, you worthless piece of shit.
All these motherfucking rednecks.
Yeah, on this motherfucking highway. I get it. You know,
you're like it's like they're making you late. You're just like hate them.
There's something. Well, when we
but then I feel like it's like it's like bullying though, kind of. I feel like.
It kind of is.
I'm like, shit, I'm being a bully right now.
It goes to human instinct and human nature. Because you ever seen that guy, right, that's weaving in and out of traffic, trying to do 90 miles an hour, get in front of the next person. That it has nothing to do with getting to your destination faster.
Oh, it does for me. I only do that when I'm late. I don't do that if I'm not running late.
I'm trying to tell you, I have done the math on it. Even if you did 20 miles over the speed limit on an average 30-mile trip, you're only going to get there about 30 seconds sooner than you would if you just did the speed limit. Right. So that makes you question, like, why are we doing it? And I'll tell you why. It's because you want to be first. People will drive slower. People will drive slower if nobody's in front of them. But if somebody's in front of them, it naturally makes you want to drive faster because you're like, I got to get in first place. They're trying to win traffic.
I'm just trying to be somewhere on time, which is hard for me.
In the chat is saying that weed smokers have no memory and can't smell or taste shit.
That's fucked up.
Damn.
Yeah, fuck you, Enrique.
Where's this chat? I didn't see that.
I'm a chef. I'm a chef, and you should try my fucking food if you think weed smokers can't taste it.
All right, guys.
I took that to heart.
Brax,
that really hurt me.
Brax, do you have anything you'd like to promote? Are you in any upcoming shows this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing this turkey contest at the Miami Improv in Doral at 8 p.m. on Wednesday, this week of the 10th. So anyone wants to go, just drop my name, Brax Comedy. You get in for free. And then on Saturday, I have a show at 8:30 p.m. in Villain Theater in Little Haiti, and it's a Zodiac show. So if you're into, like, you want me to, like, make fun of, or I guess I'm gonna be ragging on myself as well as you based on your sign. So if you're a certain couple signs, like, get ready for that. So.
Oh,
That's so funny because I'm going to do a set about how astrology is bullshit.
What sign? It probably is, but that's why I said a few signs.
What sign are you signs on? I just want to.
Yeah, I want to know the signs. Come on.
Oh, definitely the Geminis, yo.
Oh, that's fine. That ain't me.
Two-faced devils, yes.
Yeah, I feel like.
And then I'm gonna rag on Aries because I'm an Aries. That's yeah.
I feel like a very Nazi thing coming up in front of me. First, they came from the Geminis. But I said nothing because I wasn't a Gemini.
No.
You know?
Okay. All right, guys. It is time. It's that time of the week for Terry Wayne's Words for White People. Go ahead.
That's right. Oh, we're doing words, and we're doing words for white people this week. Brax, you don't have to leave. We'll talk after we stop with the live stream. But we are doing words for white people again this week, and I wanted, I had a lot of time to think about this, did a lot of driving this weekend, which gave me a lot of time to think about this. But finally, we're going to tackle critical race theory on words for white people. And to be honest, as much as I agree with the lessons being taught, I believe history should be taught as it was and not as we wish it was. But I also feel like right now it's a dog whistle issue for both sides, both liberals and conservatives. Liberals want something to fight for, and conservatives want something to fight against. But the fact of the matter is, this isn't being taught to most K through 12 schools. So it seems more like a political issue than anything else. But on the other hand, you're just basically using your children to push your own political agenda. That's it. Because you're like, oh, I don't want my kids being taught that they're bad just because they're white. Oh, I don't want my kids being taught some fairy tale about American history. Oh, I don't want my kids being taught this. I don't want my kids being taught that. I hate to be the one to break it to you, but your kids ain't being taught by the school or you. Your kids are being taught by the internet, okay? And there's no filtering that. So let's all just wake up collectively and say, be open. Just be open to new information. But what we should be teaching in schools is how to teach kids how to sift through the bullshit that they're going to go through in their lives, just being the generation they are. They're going to go through this bullshit of having to sift through all the nonsense and conspiracy theories and this and that and blah, 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 and all this misinformation to find actual hard truth. Because truth is a very, very funny thing when you really think about it. Because when you look at truth, it's something that bad men fight to find, but it's something that good men fight to hide. So it's the exact opposite of morality. You know, good men, they go to fight the truth. They don't want the truth coming into their world. I built this place. I'm a good man. Get it out of here. And bad men go to fight to find it so they can break down the good man's world. And it really, at the end of the day, it hurts us all. It hurts every one of us. We should all be searching for truth, and not for political reasons, not for gain, not so we can feel better, just so that we can all agree on one thing that is reality. You know what I mean? Okay, Christopher Columbus was a great explorer, but he never stepped foot on American soil ever in his whole fucking life.
And he was
not to mention there was Vikings here 300 years before him. So should we celebrate him for discovering America? No. You know why? Because you can't discover a place where people live. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, people already live here. You can't walk into somebody's house and say, I claim this land, I have discovered it. And it's like, no, we're making breakfast. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous to say that kind of thing. But that's, again, we go back to human nature and our mentality. It's like, if we think we're better than you, we're just going to oppress you. That's it. So we need to learn to be less oppressive. We need to learn to put our own egos in check. It doesn't matter how great you think you are, or how progressive you think you are, or how sentimental you are for the old days. It doesn't matter. Every one of us is just a meat puppet that's going to shit our pants and die one day. Okay. So we need to, I mean, that's the truth.
I say it all the time.
I know, but that's the truth. And because of that, no knowledge is bad. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to live by it, but just ascertaining that knowledge is not bad. You can make up your own mind based on that knowledge, but to deny knowledge willfully is to be willfully ignorant. So to be forewarned is to be forearmed, and to be, ignorant willfully is to be unarmed.
I can't disagree with Terry Wayne's words for white people this week. Y'all should not be opposed to critical race theory, and you shouldn't say the N-word in conclusion. All right.
Unless it's to your cat, and then it's fine.
Terry, do you have
There's no victim.
Anywhere you're at this week? You doing comedy?
Are we? I don't know. You got a date? No?
That's next week.
Next week. No, nothing this week. I'm taking the week off, apparently. I'll do some open mics.
I have
Terry Wayne Comedy on all social media.
I have Trippin' Animals. I believe that's in Miami on Thursday, and I'm at Billin on Friday. So I'm in Miami Thursday and Friday. Fuck. So you can catch me out there this week. I guess until next week, folks, thank you for tuning in to the Blamegirl podcast with Terry Wayne. Thank you, Brax. And we'll see you next week.